Hey everyone, this is Jack, and we have covered a lot of clever games on this channel, and given how many games come across these tables, well, you develop a certain bias towards the new, showcasing some new mechanic, designing under specific limitations, subverting expectations. But you know what's even better than being clever? When something is both really clever and really good. Regicide is not the first game to be designed using a standard deck of cards. I mean, there's like Poker and Go Fish, but also 1,000 other games out there, some with communities of designers challenging themselves to get creative with their decks. But Regicide has made a big splash by both recognition of its awesomeness and being available as both a set of rules you can freely apply to any old deck of cards, and also as a standalone game you can purchase with incredible illustrations. Seriously, just look at this Kiwi person. In this cooperative game, the player's deck is the tavern, comprised of aces, which count as ones and a little bit more we'll get to in a bit, up through tens, and as the title might imply, you are leading a scrappy rebellion to take on the Monarchy, a separate deck of shuffled jacks, then queens, then kings. On a player's turn, they play a card from their hand which deals its damage to the current bad daddy, slaying it and revealing another if the total damage played by player so far is equal to or more than their health, or if the noble remains alive, you take damage in the form of discarding cards, summing their attack value from your hand, then passing the turn to the next player. And you're probably like, that's just numbers. Where's the game? And that is where suits come in. When you play a card, you apply its suit power. Clubs deal double damage, hearts replenish cards from the discard to the bottom of the deck, shields cumulatively block damage from the current enemy until they die and all cards get forked over to the discard, and diamonds, perhaps the most important of all, are the only way you are going to draw more cards. Which is really important because if a noble takes a swing at you and you ain't packing enough to cover all the damage, well, then all players lose the game. And speaking of those royals, the active one on deck, they nullify the powers of any card played against them of their own suit, which adds that extra level of deliciously evil tension on top of your team's terrifying task. Already, I hope you're seeing why this is so exciting and a more nuanced puzzle than you might have hitherto anticipated given its 52 card Deckian confines, but there are just a couple more rules that really make it mechanically and thematically come to life. Aces are animal companions, which can be played alongside another card, both adding 1 to its total and making the 2-card combo count of both suits. The second exception to the single card per turn rule is that multiple cards of the same number can be played at once so long as the total doesn't go above 10, activating all suits and counting as the total, which is how you might draw 9 cards, block 9 attack, and deal 18 damage in one fell swoop. But perhaps the most strategically important and often trickiest to master of tactics are yielding, which is where you as a player decide not to play a card, still taking damage but passing on to the next turn, and what we affectionately in this house call committing regicide. Where if you do the exact amount of damage to kill a noble, instead of them going into the discard pile, they go on top of the tavern deck, soon to be drawn and played for a value equal to their attack. Whether regicided to the top of the deck or going into the discard pile and then going to the bottom of the deck by means of heart regeneration, these nobles that have been converted are going to be instrumental to your success, with queens and kings packing 15 and 20 damage and 30 and 40 health respectively. You are going to need all the help you can get. The magic of Regicide is the unity of imaginative and surprisingly congruent reappropriation of the iconic deck of cards, the incredibly difficult and precise strategic play, and the short 10 to 20 minute game time that takes the sting out of losing, only to be met with a resounding, "We got time to play another game, right?" again and again. And in truth, Luck does play a big factor in Regicide. If the Diamond Nullifying Queen backs up to the Diamond Nullifying King, your crew is almost certainly doomed because you won't be able to replenish your hand. But it's a game where when you do lose, you can clearly see if I had just played X or Y, or if just one card had been different, things could have gone another way, which keeps it feeling fair. And there's a lot of subtlety to the game too. As you play, you realize that every card has its value, whether it's better to just take a hit or give it all you got, when to prioritize healing the discard or shielding damage, and other things like the forbearance on discussing specifics in your hand, the strict hand limits, and the fact that the player who kills a royal first is the first player to swing against the next one. There's so many simple but monumentally important, near agonizing considerations at play. It's an easy game to learn, but by no means is it a casual game to play. Within 24 hours of opening this tiny box, Mrs. TCbH and I played it 8 times, and then only continued playing it more and talking about how awesome it is since. It is so clever, so smart, and so accessible. And while I love the sort of power to the people nature of playing this with any old deck of cards you have in the house, which I'll link to the rules in the vid description below, I cannot say enough amazing things about how cool the illustrations in the official version are. Solo is great too, increasing hand size and adding rules for one-time use jokers that can reset your hand. If you like tense co-ops, clever designs, or concise games that have that just one more try type of feeling, then I absolutely recommend Regicide, a game that is as fiendishly challenging as it is devilishly fun. And that's our review. But let me know, what are your favorite games that can be played with a traditional deck that people might not know about, and what makes them so fun and clever and innovative and interesting? Put it in the comments below, and as always, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, thanks for being such an awesome community. You know that I have been Jack for the Cardboard Herald.